Wednesday, the 2nd of August. Well, where does time go? It's Barbara Ann here again, and normally most of us record these midweek reflections a couple of days before they go on air. However, here I am on Wednesday, the 2nd of August, just after 7 o'clock in the morning, recording this so that we can get it up onto our Facebook page and also up onto YouTube. But where does time go? Just this week, Billy and I were travelling down to Hawick. We have an aunt who lives in Hawick. Well, it's Billy's aunt. And, well, Aunt May is her name. We knew nothing about May until about a couple of years ago. It seems that for our side of the family, or Billy's side of the family, May was a bit like a skeleton in a cupboard. But the reason I want to speak to you about her today is because, well, first, as I said, time marches on, and we have got to know May really well over these last 2 years, and all the time that we have lost with her over all these years over something quite trivial. And she is an amazing woman, and that's what I thought I would talk to you about today, is people who inspire you. So before I go on to talk about May, I want to just mention people like Dietrich Bonhoeffer. That's a truly inspiring man. And then going back, well, further on, Rosa Parks. I mean, she was the one who was the lady who sat on the bus, and she was in the what they then termed as the coloured section. And because the bus was so full of white people, she was told to get up and move further back on the bus. And of course, she refused. Now, to put your head above a parapet like that, especially in those days, I mean, that was just amazing. And that she really was an inspiring lady. What about, the first female who, I don't know, flew a plane? The first man who sat in that rocket ship and went into space? To me, these people are truly inspiring. And I certainly have seen inspiring people, well, I would probably say in my own church in East and Old. Amazing people, absolutely amazing. And what they have done in their lives, and it doesn't have to be a huge thing. It's just how they've led their lives, how they've lived their lives. And sadly, I don't get to hear of most of it until they pass away. And I'm usually speaking to the families for the eulogies. But there are some people out there who really are inspiring. If only they would have shared their story, they could have inspired so many other people. So, for example, musicians inspire me because, of course, I can't really play. I can sing and I can read music, not very quickly, but I can do it. But musicians of any kind inspire me. Artists, my goodness me. I mean, how can they just look at something and draw it? Not sure about the modern stuff and all the things that really look like anything. I do like artists who draw stuff that I can recognise. But, there's these people as well. The people who can just stand up. I mean, politicians, if they're doing their job right, are truly inspiring, because if they get up there and speak for the people and speak for what's going on and what's needed, and things happen because of it, I mean, that's just wonderful. And then take Her Majesty, the late Queen, Her Majesty, our Queen Elizabeth. I mean, what an inspiring lady she was. And I hear lots of criticism saying, yeah, you've got money, yeah, you can go really do most things in life. But the way she led her life and lived her life and didn't react to some of the horrendous stuff that came her way was truly inspiring. So then, just on the news the other day there, and I've got my phone here because I can't pronounce his name, just on the news, his class is the Kremlin critic. His name is Vladimir Karamurza, and he was given a 25-year prison sentence earlier on this year for speaking out against the Kremlin, for speaking out against Vladimir Putin. And to me, he knew what was going to happen to him. He must have known, but he still stood up and spoke out against the current people in the political power there. And then, of course, he just lost his appeal. That's why he was in the news just last week. Amazing to know that it's going to cost you a lot to do that. So that's the big things and big names. But let's be honest, we're everyday folk, aren't we? So back to May down in Hawick. That lady, to me, she's amazing. She really is. I believe she's had a very hard life. She thinks she's had a wee bit of a tough time over the years, but to me, I think she's led a very hard life. And I'm not going to get into details over what it is, but I think she's a truly inspiring person. Just recently, in the last not even 6 months, the last 6 months, she lost her eldest son at the age of 51. And then 6 weeks later, she lost her second son at the age of 49. And there she is at the age of 92. And she was an older mother when she had her children. But there she is at 92. And when we went down to see her just the other day, she said, she had a few aches and pains. And I said, 92, I'd be surprised if you didn't. She said, no, she said, I was out painting my garden fence. Now, she has got what I would class as a big garden fence. So she was out at the front and she got the black enamel paint and painted all the metal railings at the front of the garden, and then had gone round to the back and creosoted, if that's the right term, all the side panels and the back panels of the back garden. And she's still got one little section to do, but she's trying to find the right material for it because the creosote's not what she's looking for. And I thought, I wouldn't even do that. And here she is at 92 out doing all of these things. So who is it that inspires you? Well, needless to say, in the Bible there are many, many people in the Bible who've inspired me. And there is a passage that you all know so well from Ecclesiastes, and it talks about there is a time under heaven for everything. And that's how it starts. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to cry, a time to laugh. It's all there. A time to plant, one to uproot, time for war, time for peace, one to hate, one to love. It's all there. So during your lifetime, who has inspired you? And has it led you to do anything different in your life? And then, have you ever inspired anyone? For me to get into ministry, I would say that's led me to this stage in my life was my former minister, the Reverend Georgina Baxendale. And I found her to be a truly inspiring lady, first of all, and secondly as a minister. Yes, she had her flaws like we all do, but she definitely inspired me to change my career in my early 40s and leave work and go to university and then eventually to become a minister of Word and Sacrament. So who inspires you? And have you ever told them that? So have a wee think about that, folks, and just have a great week ahead. God bless.